With all of your children watching films in your house for years and years,
Yeah.
you become accustomed to watching, being a grown adult watching children's films. But what is the one over the years that captivated so much you wouldn't even mind if all the kids took off to their room to play on iPads and you keep sitting there because you love the story?
Dude, I love The Croods. I'm a big fan of The Croods. It makes me laugh a lot. I think it's really clever.
Can I guess why you like that? Because the dad, voiced by Nicolas Cage in that film, I relate with him so much because all he wants to do is protect his kids and his family. But he annoys them because he's like, we're going to stay in this cave and we're not leaving this cave. And there's like, that's not living. That's just not dying. There's a great line.
Yeah.
But The Croods makes me almost cry. As a dad, I'm like, all I want to do is protect, but I can't. I can't do it. I am not physically capable of keeping all you guys from harm.
Yeah.
But his character does that through the whole movie. It's almost the point of the movie.
That's
it's almost a movie for dads.
That's really perceptive. I didn't think of that. I think if I had a choice to put my arms around my kids and never put them in danger, never put them in harm's way, I would. Now, our kids go to public school because I want them to go to public school. We don't homeschool them. And that's a conversation my wife have had over the last few years. Should we homeschool them to protect them? And I feel that they're going to have to learn on their own eventually. So let's start them in at least the public school system, where they have to learn to take other people's opinions, to hear those opinions, and still carry their own faith. Like I've told my kids, listen, I said this as recently as this week. I said, lads, you can't live off my faith. My faith is not yours. You got to have your own. Because if you're relying on me in 10 years' time, when you think I'm totally irrelevant, maybe 5 years' time for them, maybe next week, I said, where's your faith going to be then? And so I've realized that I can't protect my kids. It's the hardest battle I've ever had. I've watched them been hurt. I've watched them, been torn apart, and done my best to protect them. But you can't, And even as a daddy or a mommy listening, at the end of the day, you can only love them as best as you can and allow God to shape and mold them. But they're going to make their own mistakes. And you can't take all that on board. Everything can't be your fault, Yeah. We have to trust them that whatever God planted in them, he's going to bring it to fruition. And without making it spiritual, I'm not a fan of hyper-spiritualizing everything. But there is a scripture that's meant a lot to me. And it's the one that says that suffering produces perseverance. And perseverance produces character. And character produces hope. Hope never disappoints. So I think the knocks that we take, the disappointments, the heartache, if we view them all as just being useless, then we miss the point. The point is that they're refining our character. It's there that the Lord refines us, that he teaches us how to endure, how to persevere. And the promise for those who endure and persevere is that they will be saved, okay? And so I think as a culture, we need to stop trying to avoid pain and heartache, right? That shouldn't be the focus of our lives, is to avoid pain.
It's very American.
It's very American.
Western.
It's very Western. It's very Irish too. I think we need to take everything, the good and the bad, and see it as a gift from heaven. Again, all these years you've known me. When I wrote Maybe It's Okay, you can probably put your head to it and imagine I was in maybe one of the worst places in my life. Riddled with insecurity. Depression was creeping in. Walls were falling down around me. And it was when I wrote that song, I said, if I didn't know what it hurt like to be broken, I'd never know what it's like to be whole. Remember that first line? And God said to me, he said, all of this stuff, the adultery, the disappointment, before Jesus, the heartache, the drunkenness, the violence, and even now my anger and my frustration and my envy, he said, Darren, everything is an opportunity. Everything, in a way, is a gift. That if you will see me in this and through this, I will turn all these things together for your good and for the good of those around you who love Jesus and are called according to his purposes. So I don't look at the bad things anymore and go, what a waste. I go, you know what, God, thank you. Thank you for letting me endure that. Thank you for being with me in that. He never tempts us. We know that. He can't. He doesn't. It's not in his character to tempt us. But he lets us endure things that we think we can't. And then our character builds. And then hope. Which is why when a little girl is in intensive care because of suicide, that I'm still naive enough to believe that the Lord can heal her and restore her. And he didn't in this instance. And so the heartbreak comes in. And then the disappointment in him comes in. And then I go back and go, what are you showing us? What are you teaching us? And then he says, look what I'm doing. And then I'm like, I'm dopey. I'm sorry.